Unit 10, Day 4 homework tutorial. The homework is only the first 12 problems on this worksheet, so basically the front side only. But I will allow you to exempt number 6 as it is a little more difficult. But if you can solve it on your own, I might award you extra credit. So good luck. I will work out the odd problems only. So for number 1, it wants us to find x, and it wants us to assume that segments that appear to be tangent are already tangent. So it appears that JK is tangent. So because JK is tangent to circle H, I know that JH is a radius, and so where JK and JH intersect, there it should be a right angle. So let's put the right angle on our picture. So to find x, we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So on this picture, c is x. So that means a and b are 15 and 20. So 15 squared plus 20 squared is equal to x squared. 15 squared is 225. 20 squared is 400. And this is simply just x squared. Combine 225 with 400, you get 625 is equal to x squared. And the only way to get rid of your power of 2 is to take the square root of both sides. So x is equal to the square root of 625, which I believe is 25. But let me double check. Yes. Alrighty. So x is 25. Alright, for number 3, it's basically the same scenario. In this case, ZB is tangent to circle Y. So YZ being the radius will intersect ZB, and they're perpendicular, so there's a right angle there. So the distance from Y to B is not completely shown, and that's your hypotenuse. We know that Y to A is also a radius, and in the illustration, Y to Z is a radius, and it's 21, so that means Y to A should also be 21. So that means when I combine 21 with 8, I would get 29 for C. So now again, I'm using Pythagorean's theorem. So A is x, B is 21, and C is 29. So we have x squared equal to 21 squared and 29 squared. I have not memorized those, so thankfully we have a calculator. So 21 squared is 441, and 29 squared is 841. So to get x squared by itself, I would have to subtract 441 from both sides. So I would have x squared is equal to 400. And then I have to take the square root of both sides again. And x would be equal to 20. All right, on number 5, we're using a slightly different theorem. We know that PN is tangent to circle M as well as PQ, and they both intersect at point P outside the circle. So that means that these two segments, PN and PQ, are congruent. So that means their measures are equal. So if PN is 12 and PQ is X, that means X equals 12. Not so bad. For number 7, they would like for us to find X and then find the perimeter of the outer figure. So there's a series of congruent segments. Let's mark them. So I know that this segment is congruent with this segment. So that means if this part is 13, this part will also be 13. I know that these two segments are congruent. So if this one is showing 17, this one should also be 17. And then at last I know that this segment is congruent with this segment. So 10 is here, so 10 must be here. And if you notice, X is the entire right side of this triangle. So I would combine 10 with 13 and get 23. And for the perimeter, I add all three sides of my triangle. So this left side will be 31. Sorry, 30. Because 17 plus 13 is 30. The bottom side is 27 because 17 plus 10 is 27. And then we already know what the right side is. That's 23. So the perimeter would be 23 plus 30 plus 27, which would give me 53 plus 27 is 80. For number 9, same idea. Find x and find the perimeter of the outer figure, which appears to be a square, but we cannot assume that it's a square. But we do know it's a quadrilateral. So this piece is congruent with this piece, which means that 2x is equal to 8. So if I use my algebra skills, divide by 2, x would be 4. So that means this part is 8. The total would be 16 for that side. So the total for this side is 16 as well. So yes, it is a square. All four sides are equal. So to find the perimeter, I just need to take 4 times 16, which should be 64. And lastly, number 11. The congruent pieces are this one and this one. So this is 3. This is kind of tiny, but there's a 1 here, so there's a 1 here as well. There's a 6 here, so that means this is 6. There's a 2 here, so there's 2 here as well. So again, x is the combination of 2 and 6, so that means it's 8. And now for the perimeter. So this side is 5. This side is 4. This side is 7. And this side is 8. So 8 plus 7 plus 4 plus 5. So 15 plus 5 is 20 plus 4 is 24. And this concludes your tutorial for this assignment. Complete the rest of the evens on this front page and you're done.